to be the visible personification of absolute perfection.
I think your frankness has a great credit, Earnest. If you will allow me, I will copy your remarks into my diary.
Do you really keep a diary? I'd give anything to look at it. May I?
Oh, no. You see, it's simply a very young girl's records of her own thoughts and impressions, and consequently meant for publication. When it appears in volume form, I hope you will order a copy. But pray, Earnest, don't stop. I delight in taking down from dictation. I have reached absolute perfection. You can go on. I am quite ready for more.
Well.
Oh, don't cough, Earnest. When one is dictating, one should speak fluently and not cough. Besides, I don't know how to spell a cough.
Well, Cecily, ever since I first looked upon your wonderful and incomparable beauty, I have dared to love you wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly.
I don't think that you should tell me that you love me wildly, passionately, devotedly, and hopelessly. Hopelessly doesn't seem to make much sense, does it?
Cecily,
the door card is waiting, sir.
Merriman, tell it to come round next week at the same hour.
Very much not to know you were staying on till next week at the same hour.
No, I don't care about Jack, and I don't care about anybody in the whole world but you. I love you, Cecily. You will marry me, won't you?
You silly boy, of course. Why, we've been engaged for the last 3 months.
For the last 3 months?
Yes, oh, exactly. 3 months on Thursday.
But how did we become engaged?
Well, ever since dear Uncle Jack first confessed to us that he had a younger brother who was very wicked in bed, you, of course, have formed the chief topic of conversation between Miss Prism and I. And of course, a man is much talked about is always very attractive. One feels there must be something in him after all. I dare say it was foolish of me, but I fell in love with you, Earnest.
Darling, and when was the engagement actually settled?
On the 14th of February last. Worn out by entire ignorance of my existence, I determined to end the matter one way or the other. And after a long struggle with myself, I accepted you under these dear old arches here. The next day, I bought this ring in your name, and this is the bangle, the true lover's knot I promised you always to wear.
Did I give you this? It's very pretty, isn't it?
Yes, you wonderfully good Diana. It's the reason I've always given you for your leading such a bad life. And this is the box in which I keep all your letters.
My letters? Cecily, I've never written you any letters.
You need hardly remind me of that, Ernest. I remember only too well that I was forced to write your letters for you.
Do let me read them, Cecily.
Couldn't possibly. They would make you far too conceited. The 3 I wrote after I'd broken off our engagement are so beautifully written and so badly spelt that even now I can hardly read them without crying a little.
But was our engagement ever broken off?
Of course it was. On the 22nd of last March. You can see the entry if you like. Today I broke off my engagement with Earnest. I feel it better to do so. The weather still continues charming.
Why did you break it off? What had I done? I had done nothing. I am very much hurt indeed, Cecily, to learn that you broke it off. Particularly when the weather was so charming.
It would have hardly been a really serious engagement if it hadn't been broken off at least once. But I forgave you before the week was out.
What a perfect angel you are, Cecily.
You dear romantic boy. I hope your hair curls naturally. Does it?
It does, with a little help from others.
I am so glad.
You will never break off our engagement again, Cecily.
I don't think I could now that I've actually met you. Besides, of course, there is the question of your name.
Yes, of course.
You mustn't laugh at me, darling, but it's always been a girlish dream of mine to love someone whose name was Earnest. There is something in that name that seems to inspire absolute confidence. I pity any poor married woman whose husband is not called Earnest.
But, Cecily, do you mean to say that you couldn't marry me if I had some other name?
What name?
Oh, any name you like. Algernon, for instance.
I don't like the name of Algernon.
Well, Cecily, I really don't see why you should object to the name of Algernon. It isn't at all a bad name. In fact, it is rather an aristocratic name. Half the chaps who get into the bankruptcy court are called Algernon. But seriously, Cecily, my name was Algie. Couldn't you love me?
I might respect you, Ernest. I fear I should not be able to give you my undivided attention.
Cecily, your rector here is, I suppose, thoroughly experienced in all the rites and ceremonials of the church?
Oh yes, Dr. Chasuble is the most learned man. He has never written a single book, so you can imagine how much he knows.
I must see him at once. A most important christening. I mean, a most important business.
Oh!
I shan't be away more than half an hour.
Considering that we've been engaged since February the 14th, and I've met you today only for the first time, I think it's rather hard you should leave me for so long a period as half an hour. Can you make it 20 minutes?
I'll be back in no time.
What an impetuous boy he is. I like his hair so much. I must enter his proposal in my diary.
Miss Fairfax has just called to see Mr. Worthing. Very important business, Miss Fairfax states.
Isn't Mr. Worthing in the library?
Mr. Worthing went over in the direction of the rectory some time ago.
Hurry, ask the lady to come out here. Mr. Worthing is sure to be back soon. And you can bring tea.
Yes, miss.
Miss Fairfax, I suppose one of the many good elderly women who are associated with Uncle Jack and some of his philanthropic work in London. I don't quite like women who are interested in philanthropic work. I think it's so forward of them.
Miss Fairfax.
Pray, let me introduce myself. My name is Cecily Cardew.
Cecily Cardew. What a very sweet name. Something tells me that we're going to be great friends. I like you already, more than I can say. My first impressions of people are never wrong.
How nice of you to like me so much after we've known each other such a comparatively short time. Pray, sit down.
I may call you Cecily, may I not?
With pleasure.
And you will always call me Gwendolen, won't you?
If you wish.
And that's all quite settled, is it not?
I hope so.
Perhaps this might be a favourable opportunity for my mentioning who I am. My father is Lord Bracknell. You have never heard of Papa, I suppose?
I don't think so.
Outside the family circle, Papa, I'm glad to say, is entirely unknown. I think that is quite as it should be. The home seems to me to be the proper sphere for the man, and certainly once a man begins to neglect his domestic duties, he becomes painfully effeminate, does he not? And I don't like that. It makes men so very attractive. Cecily, Mamma, whose views in education are remarkably strict, has brought me up to be extremely short-sighted. It is part of her system. So, do you mind my looking at you through my glasses?
Oh, not at all, Gwendolen. I am very fond of being looked at.
You are here on a short visit, I suppose?
Oh, no. I live here.
Really? Your mother, no doubt, or some female relative of advanced years resides here also?
Oh, no. I have no mother, nor in fact any relations.
Indeed.
My dear guardian, with the assistance of Miss Prism, has the arduous task of looking after me.
Your guardian?
Yes, I am Mr. Worthing's ward.
Oh! It is strange. Never mentioned to me that he had a ward. How secretive of him. He grows more interesting hourly. I am not sure, however, that the news inspires him with feelings of unmixed delight. I am very fond of you, Cecily. I have liked you ever since I met you. But I am bound to state that now that I know that you're Mr. Worthing's ward, I cannot help expressing a wish that you are, well, just a little older than you seem to be, and not quite so very alluring in appearance. In fact, if I may speak candidly...
Pray do. I think that whenever one has anything unpleasant to say, one should always be quite candid.
Well, to speak with perfect candor, Cecily, I wish that you were fully 42 and more than usually plain for your age. Ernest has a strong, upright nature. He's the very soul of truth and honor. His loyalty is impossible to him as deception. But even men of the noblest possible moral character are extremely susceptible to the influence of the physical charms of others. Modern, no less than ancient history, has supplied us with many most painful examples of what I refer to. If it were not so, history would be quite unreadable. mentioned to me that he had a brother.
I am sorry to say they have not been on good terms for a long time.
Ah, that accounts for it. And now that I think of it, I have never heard any man mention his brother. The subject seems distasteful to most men. Cecily, you have lit the nerve of my mind. I was very most anxious. It would have been terrible if any cloud had come across a friendship like ours, would it not? Of course, you are quite sure that it's not Mr. Ernest Worthing who's your guardian?
Quite sure. In fact, we're going to get married.
I beg your pardon.
There is no reason why I should make a secret of it to you. Our little county newspaper is sure to chronicle the fact next week. Mr. Earnest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
My darling Cecily, I think there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing's engaged to me. The announcement will appear in the Morning Post on Saturday at the latest.
I am afraid you must be under some misconception. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
Certainly very curious, for he asked me to be his wife yesterday afternoon at 5:30. If you care to verify the pray do so. I never travel around without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read in the train. I am so sorry, dear Cecily, if it is any disappointment to you, but I am afraid I have the prior claim.
It would distress me more than I can tell you, dear Gwendolen, if it caused you any mental or physical anguish, but I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he clearly has changed his mind.
The poor fellow has been entrapped into any foolish promise. I shall consider it my duty to rescue him at once, and with a firm hand.
Whatever unfortunate entanglement my dear boy may have got himself into, I will never reproach him with it after we are married. Do you suggest, Miss Fairfax, that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you! This is no time for wearing the shallow mask of madness. When I see a spade, I call it a spade.
I am glad to say that I have never seen a spade. It is obvious our social spheres have been widely different.
Shall I leave tea here as usual, miss?
Yes, as usual.
Are there many interesting walks in the vicinity, Miss Cardew?
Oh yes, a great many, Miss Fairfax. From the top of one of those hills quite close, one can see 5 counties.
5 counties? I don't think I should like that. I hate crowds.
I suppose that is why you live in town.
Quite, well-kept garden, this is Miss Cardew.
So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I had no idea there were any flowers in the country.
Oh, flowers here is common, Miss Fairfax says. People are in London.
I cannot understand how anybody manages to exist in the country. Of anybody who is anybody does. The country always bores me to death.
Ah, that is what the newspapers call agricultural depression, is it not? I believe the aristocracy are suffering very much from it just at present. It is almost an epidemic amongst them, I've been told. May I offer you some tea, Miss